Alrighty, guys, welcome into the first committee meeting of the season. First week we have Harps, Zach, and Ron, who is an alternate, Dogwater, and Nick, Boo. They're nowhere to be found, whatever. So, a few disclaimers for people who have not done this before. Also, Zach and Harps are first timers. Obviously, VC, if your team comes up in discussions, you can't talk about it or offer your opinion or whatever. Obviously, everybody else has to do it. Also, when it comes to rankings, like right now, it's not like the end all be all right now. A lot of stuff works itself out. So, no like filibusters or like this team has to be ranked. We're not moving past it, right? We don't need to be here for hours for week 10. Save that for the last week, where we go into the deep details. The point of this is just to get really good, solid rankings that can, add to the value of the matchups later in the season. And I don't think I'm missing anything else. As always, this is a VOD that goes up on YouTube. So first up, the first three are really easy, in my opinion. Is we get to pick between Tennessee, Iowa State, and Baylor. Personally, I don't think that there's any. While I personally think Iowa State is better and should be number one, I don't think there's any reason to go against the coaches poll that was majorly in favor of Tennessee. And and next week works itself out anyways.
Yep.
Do you guys have any convictions on that, or are we all good with?
I'm definitely for letting Tennessee hold on to the one seed here. Just makes sense. They've been dominant. Iowa State and Baylor have both been dominant as well, but they play each other this week, and sitting at 2 and 3, that's just a nice easy spot for them to get jumped up to 1.
Yeah,
I think it's fine leaving that 1, 2, 3 as is.
Yeah, I think the winner of the game day next week will jump to 1.
Harps,
That's
I
easy.
can barely hear you.
I think the winner of game day next week will jump to 1, so I think Tennessee.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so 1 through 3 is going to be Tennessee, and then Iowa State, and then Baylor. All right, so now Ron can now join back in. Number 4 is, Cal lost. You have a Cal team, 1 loss. I personally would say Ohio State would be next up because they're 5, slot down to 4. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I'd rather give that to Ohio State than Florida.
Yeah, at 2 losses. Now, the real question though is how far is Cal gonna drop? So I have Ohio State at 4, but so first let me go through all the conferences just so we all know kind of what's going on. Boston College and Clemson are the only 1-loss teams in the ACC. AAC, East Carolina, probably not around this tier. Cincinnati later on. Big 12, we already ranked these 2. None of these teams are going to be top 10. And then Big 10, we ranked Iowa State. We got to kind of think about where to put these teams. CSA Houston, I don't know your guys' opinions. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to talk when we start talking about G5, but my personal thing is, I normally don't rank the G5 high until, they have, 10 wins or, so that's just, I won't be able to talk, but that's all I'll say on that. But
Okay.
Buffalo, obviously undefeated. Mountain West, maybe you rank a team here, but that's way later. And then 2 1-loss teams here, Stanford and Cal. Then we got Florida, 2-loss. And then Georgia took that critical 3rd loss. And then finally Sun Belt, you got a 2-loss Georgia Southern. So we are at 5 here. Do you guys go Florida? Do we keep Cal, or what do you think?
I'm probably, and this may just be a me thing, I'm pretty low on Cal. I think Stanford's the better team out of the pack.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Boise, like, that's just an awful loss. It was Boise they lost to, right?
Yeah.
Oregon State
Oh,
2
with
and
Oregon
6.
State.
Oh,
but-
yeah, you're right.
Boise beat Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I got within
Stanford,
5
I
of
think,
Cal,
you know,
so
I
I'm
think
not
an argument can be made for that. I think putting Stanford at 5 right now is
That's a
kind of
little too
wild.
big of a jump. Yeah.
Yeah. I am the biggest SEC hater that ever lived, but I am very impressed with Florida. I'd probably put them up here. I mean, for sure, I think they're the best 2-loss team. It's just I don't know whether you put a team like Cal here or the other 1-loss teams we're considering would be Boston College, Clemson, Stanford. There's none in the Big 12. And I'm also on the screens where if you guys want to see a schedule or something, we can. So you just ask me. And personally, I don't think a G5 goes here. So my vote would probably be Florida right now.
I'm voting Florida here.
I'm gonna go with Florida as well.
All right.
Okay.
I
So
also
now we're at 6.
I think this is where we go Buffalo ECU as well. I think we drop Cal below them. I think we just kind of keep it 7-8 for now, or I guess 6-7 for now.
So I definitely want to go Buffalo here, but I also want to look at some of the resumes of the other 1-loss teams.
My stance is I think Cal's better than Buffalo. I can't talk
A
about.
loss to Oregon State would drop them at least this week low.
What if I told you that I think ECU is better than Cal? Buffalo also, of course. I know you can't actually.
I will say though is like, all right, so let's look at resumes because it looks like Cal versus Buffalo right now. So Cal obviously has top. Don't pay attention to the rankings because these are the in-game rankings that it makes up for itself. But Michigan State's defending national champion. Great win. It was a Hail Mary. Washington looks to be a decent win, even though they are a 3-loss team. They have had some struggles, but they have won. They just ran into the Beaver buzzsaw, I guess. And then if you look at the MAC here, personally, I'm just going to say I think that Texas, Georgia Tech, and TAMU, on paper, they look like great wins. But when you actually look at it, they're super just mid P5 teams. Like this, to me, is the equivalent of like an IRL win over, a 6-6 bowl team like a I don't know, Syracuse is better last year, but middle of the road team. It's not like big bad Texas, big bad, whatever. The win over Central Michigan's huge though, so I don't know what you guys think, but
and they cooked Eastern Michigan
yeah. I will say though, Eastern Michigan was not impressive against who was it last week? Western Michigan. They got
Western Michigan. Yeah,
it's kind of like the back-to-back, just like one of those weird good first half teams of the season. I mean, because it's like such a fresh loss, obviously recency bias is going to play a factor, so I'm fine putting Buffalo there. Just personally, like season ended today, I'd go Cal.
Can I see what's up ahead on Cal's schedule? We've got a big game for Buffalo next week against Toledo.
So next up, they got Oregon, Stanford, Boise. Now, I will say one thing I didn't say for the disclaimers is that when we're ranking, you can't judge stuff based on what has yet to happen, right? So we have to just go off what's happened.
Because I want to take.
I would say it's close, but like undefeated versus 2-6 team is just.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It is.
I would go with undefeated personally.
It's just one of those weird balance, like how, is Buffalo actually good, or is it, a G5 team that's gonna get smoked, right? It's the same age-old question. So I mean, it really doesn't matter which way you go.
I think I'm Team Buffalo here.
I'm also Team Buffalo.
Me personally, I am going the same way.
All right, 3 to Buffalo, so Buffalo 6. And then we're all good with Cal 7.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
If you're all right with it, I'd argue for ECU 7, but if we've got 3 votes for Cal, that works for me.
I mean, I can't vote if it.
All right, guys. So I mean, 2 votes for Cal. That
Yeah,
still beats
we'll
me.
go tie.
We can put Cal there. That don't
All right.
bother me.
All right, so 8. Let's see. So you got Boston College, Clemson, ECU.
I think
ECU. I like ECU's talent more than Clemson.
I think it's between ECU and Clemson for sure. Boston College lost to Central Michigan, so they can be a little bit lower, but I don't remember who was Clemson's loss.
Clemson lost to Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Team loaded with SFA talent.
Yes, but they are 4-4.
Yes.
Also, yeah, performing less than the triple overtime loss that ECU has.
I mean, if you're comparing these two teams, I'd probably go. I mean, Boston College, like, they escaped this game with NC State, right? Overtime. So
It's
whatever.
3-6 NC State.
2-point loss to Central Michigan versus Clemson got 16-point loss. Like, I'd probably give Boise or Boston College probably the benefit of the doubt, even though Clemson's coming off of a big win over Syracuse. And if you just look, though, like, the quality of wins for Boston College, not that great to this point.
No.
I think ECU is definitely over both these teams for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking ECU here.
All right, ECU at 8. All right, 9.
This one is Boston College. Or
This is where you start getting into the these one-loss teams that you don't think should be this high, but you kind of have to go this high, right?
It'll work itself out. They can be this high for now. Boston College, I'm taking them here. Look at that, 80 more points for, and 1 less game than Clemson's played. Similar schedules.
A win over ACU or ASU and Syracuse. I think
that's a good win over ASU.
And that's when ASU still had hefty.
Can we look at some of those 2-loss Big Ten teams though? Maybe.
Yeah.
I do like Illinois quite a bit.
Illinois, a tough loss to Washington. That had a lot of underlying things with it. Baylor versus Washington in the past, right? A big Hail Mary win against Arizona. Weird game here versus Georgia Tech. Got smoked on game day, whatever. But 3 straight wins against quality teams. This is a good team.
Yeah, they are a quality team for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know if I like their resume, to put them over a 1-loss team.
Yeah.
I don't think their resume is gonna stand out.
In my opinion, if you're starting to talk about 2-loss teams, I think Michigan State's probably the best 2-loss team.
Binks is back.
Especially with Binks back. These last 2 weeks, he's been dominant. He struggled with injuries all season long. They lose on a Hail Mary, and then an overtime game on stream in the snow.
Yeah.
Those are 2 quality losses if you ever see them. And then Northwestern here. Not really loving the out-of-conference back-to-back losses versus some tough teams. So the head-to-head, you kind of have to give Michigan State the nod there. Common opponent, Iowa. So that's the Big Ten teams. Now, what about? Let's take a look at Stanford, because this is where they could start creep up. Washington State's not a terrible team this year. Utah was a better win at the time. Not really. Tough loss to ASU. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not really all impressed with this schedule so far.
I mean, that schedule's rough, honestly.
It doesn't get better for a long time, too.
It's just there's not an elite matchup here, even though you have a lot of over 500 teams.
Yeah.
Now, I think by the time we get to the end of the season, ASU and Arizona could both be very quality teams, an 8-3, 8-4 for both of them. And that's a pretty good win, but I think they're on the lower end for me right now of the
I agree.
one-loss teams.
So, do we want to then like put a Clemson in here?
I
We
think.
haven't ranked them yet,
I don't see
right?
another option other than to go Clemson here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think this
Or
is
Boston College,
Clemson.
yes.
Well, Boston we already
Right,
ranked,
Clemson.
right?
No,
Yeah.
we don't
Not
have
yet.
Boston College yet.
Oh, okay, then BC first here.
I think Clemson over BC.
I like Clemson over BC too.
I do. I like, especially with their win today. I like Clemson over Boston.
But I am also perfectly fine going Clemson then BC. I think these
Yeah.
two teams are good.
I could.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Clemson
Just
then
make
BC.
this. All right, this is the ACC neighborhood. We can just go Clemson, BC.
All right. Now we're down to 11. So this is where is terms of one-loss teams remaining that aren't G5. Let's just make sure. I know Stanford.
I think Stanford's the only.
A lot of
other-
two-loss teams there. Houston. Where do we think Houston's going to fall?
Don't know.
So Notre Dame, they're not ranked in any of our polls yet, so take that with a grain of salt. Kansas is starting to become a better win. Louisiana was an
Lost
okay win,
Scar.
or a good win on game day. That was dominant. I would say Houston is in this area. I don't know for sure what we do
I think-
here.
Their resume might be better than Stanford's, honestly.
I think so too.
State.
Yeah,
But I'm in the. I think I'm in the Michigan State boat.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that.
There's just you can't put them too low. We all
No.
know how good they actually are.
I mean, they got the best win out of any of the teams we're talking about right now. So
And if you think about the committee IRL, they do consider injuries. So, I mean, best player in the country out for the first 6 weeks. 2 tough end of game losses. I think you give them benefit of the doubt for right now.
And
All right, so I have them. at
Big
11.
opportunity to prove themselves next week.
Now I'm fine going. For me, I think for these 2 losses here, right here, it would be Illinois then Northwestern. If once we rank these, but for the next pick, I would want to go either Illinois
Houston.
or Houston.
I would go Houston personally.
Houston has good wins.
I think they
Yeah.
got some good wins there.
They
Yeah,
dominated.
a lot
on
of good
game day,
wins.
which
Now
was
they did struggle against
fun.
Tulane, but they still wound up finding a way to win. FSU isn't that bad. It's a pretty
And
good
Tulane's
team.
not an awful team either. I mean, they're
No.
5-3.
This is
Away
actually
game.
like a fairly strong schedule. Obviously, you
Yeah.
have the odd shitter in there with Memphis and ULM, but everything else is good. All right.
Yeah, I like the schedule.
All right. Everyone good on Houston?
Yeah.
Good on Houston.
How's Colorado looking? I know they're a 2-loss team, I think.
They get all this hate for no reason. Close loss to Arkansas, then the loss to Baylor by 4. That's actually kind of impressive.
That's
I don't think we
very
can
impressive.
start to, I think they're a ranked team, but overtime win against a 2-win Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that's
all
not
that
pretty.
great. They have plenty of time here to move up, and obviously Iowa State.
Yeah.
Sorry, they have a game in 2 days. Is that what the schedule says?
Looks like it. One of those fun little MAC or Big 12 on like a Monday. That's rough.
No bye. Right into it.
Preparing them for NFL Thursday nights. All right. So I mean, yeah, I think Illinois here personally.
Yeah, I can't. Illinois is very good, and I don't
also-
want them.
Syracuse is also a team to consider, like, because we have to rank Syracuse, think over Virginia, because of the head-to-head and that big win. Pittsburgh lost 3 points and looks, but the Clemson was also
That's
close.
a quality
It's just,
loss there.
but I wouldn't rank them here. I think Illinois is way better.
And we're not talking about like Cincinnati here, right? They're 7-1 too, right? Like they don't have any wins,
They're
right?
7-1. I'm super high on Cincinnati. Obviously, I think Chad Barber is a dog. Their only loss is on game day. And so I think that they are probably my next G5 team after Central Michigan. I think you, just for the wins Central Michigan has, and the fact that they are still 1 loss, you kind of just have to put them up here.
Yeah.
An Ohio State win and a Boston College win is really good.
Yeah.
That Ohio State win is still just insane to me.
Yeah, I mean it's just one of those things.
Kick to win, baby.
So do you guys want to go Illinois here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I might even consider Central Michigan to go right here. I mean,
So do you want to? Would you? If we put them right here, then we kind of have to compare Houston in Central Michigan, which we didn't do.
true.
Do you think Central Michigan then, with these wins, you got to put over Houston?
I kind of overlooked them. I mean, their only loss is
Yeah.
to a top 6 team, and they have wins over 2 top 10 teams.
Yeah, I think okay. Yeah, so we have to give them some respect,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So CMU 12, Houston 13. And then do we just want to go Illinois?
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
So now we're at wonderful number 15 here. We still got Northwestern on the board. We have
We
Cincy
Still
on the board.
Stanford too, right?
Yeah, we still have Stanford on the board. I
And
think here is
CFP.
probably where you consider putting Stanford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I think you gotta
Stanford
go
and,
Stanford.
and Northwestern are
Stanford
really
and
the
Northwestern,
two
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that spread right there. So Stanford, Northwestern. And then 17, do we want to just pull the trigger and do Syracuse?
They can't fall much farther, right?
I mean, I don't think so. Like,
It was a quality
wins
loss
like
there to
the
Clemson.
Virginia win, you kind of have to rank them over them, and we're starting to get to that point where Virginia is considered. They were number 10 last week, so dropping 7 for a 3-point loss to number 9 isn't necessarily. I think that's
Reason-
That's
I think it's
that's
just a
all
fair
right.
spot to put 'em.
yeah.
And
Um,
looking ahead at their schedule, they've got a chance to move up. They're not gonna,
Yeah. And
play
I-
shitter
and I-
teams through.
Yeah, and I kind of think that they're just still kind of like while they're on the much lower end of this tier that we've been talking about. I still think that they're above all these other 2-loss teams that we might consider.
Mhm.
So, all right, Syracuse 17. So now it starts to get a little whack. Let's go back through all the teams here, just make sure we don't miss anybody. So Sunbelt, you got JSOW, who you might consider here a little later. SEC, honestly, I don't see a team to rank in this area. I think we might want to talk about in the 20s, South Carolina,
Yeah.
or maybe Georgia sneaking in. But right now, no, in my opinion. Same
No one
kind of
else.
deal here. I think Washington. I want to look at Washington because they're a team that everybody keeps ranking super high, even though they have a loss to Wyoming, Utah, and Cal. And just because they beat Illinois, I think they might be in consideration for a ranking, but I don't like they're ranked 7 or 18 or 19 last week.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I'm not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it either. Mac, Toledo, you might want to start considering, but personally, I don't think so. Notre Dame also might be in that slot where they might deserve a rating at some point. I don't think you rank another one of these teams.
No.
Big
Doubtful.
Ten,
Especially after Texas
Iowa
State
also
just
starting in that
Texas.
category.
Mhm.
You might find a way to rank them. All right,
Yeah.
so Big 12. So teams we start to think about now. You start to think about Colorado. You start to think about Cincinnati. I think they're the next.
I think Cincinnati is
five to
probably
fall.
the guy here.
And then I think also Virginia. So
Yeah.
I think there's really 3 teams for these next 3. I think personally I'd probably go Cincinnati, Virginia, Colorado, but really I'd be fine with any combo of that.
Can we see Virginia's schedule real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
to me,
Virginia-
Cincinnati's an easy 1 here, and it's figuring out where like the 2, 3 fall.
Yeah, because I mean Cincinnati's only loss is Arizona.
Arizona.
On game day. You got a loss to Temple, lost Syracuse. You can't fault them for that.
Yeah,
No,
Syracuse
oh,
is-
I can
then
fault them for that
close
loss to
loss.
Temple, though.
And then this game against Duke just wasn't impressive. Like they were ranked 19 last week. I don't see it moving much after a game like
Hey.
that.
I
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Colorado's 2 losses a lot more than Virginia's 2 losses.
Agreed.
Okay.
And I like
So-
Cincinnati better than both of them.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think we're all in agreement here. So Cincy, Colorado,
Virginia.
at 20. So yeah, they don't move this week. All right. So we got 5 spots remaining. So 21, 22, yeah, 5 spots. So we're going to go back through and then just kind of call out teams that you think should be ranked, and then we'll kind of eliminate from there. Anyone think Miami? I don't think anyone else. I think
I
Not
don't.
anymore.
I'm not too high on them now.
American, I think we're good. I think Army could
Yeah.
sneak in at the end of the season, but not right now.
Mhm.
All right, Big 12, Kansas, Arkansas, I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Kansas State, definitely no, they just got smoked.
Not with
Okay.
2 losses in their division, Arkansas.
I think you might consider TCU or Kansas if we're super scrambling,
Yeah,
but not right
Maybe
now.
a 25 or something like that.
Yeah. All right, I think Iowa for sure.
Yeah.
Nor,
Indiana,
have we-
no.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not high on Indiana anymore. 3 straight losses.
yeah,
Um,
no.
Conference USA, we already kind of wrote them off. Independence, I'd put Notre Dame in a team to
Yeah.
look at, so we'll keep them. I think you kind of got to look at Toledo.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain West, maybe Fresno State at 25, but
I don't know. I just haven't seen Fresno State.
it's just
like
one of those
I feel like I
years.
don't know.
0-2 start,
They have
but they've
some good
rattled off
wins.
6 straight, and
Ooh,
They're
Utah,
scoring a
but
lot of
Utah was
points.
decent.
I don't know.
Doesn't
Yeah,
feel like a
maybe
real
consider.
playoff schedule to me, but maybe we should rank them.
Arizona State finally has their quarterback back, number 1 QB. They were a preseason top 10 team. Couple tough losses here.
Yeah.
A win over
Had
Stanford.
2 really good wins in a row.
I like them. I would put them some to talk about at least. I think Washington you kind of talk about.
Mhm.
All right, SEC here.
think South
What about
Carolina.
LSU? Are we looking at LSU? No.
Not
I think
really.
South Carolina you for sure talk about.
Yeah.
Georgia maybe.
Yeah,
and then
Georgia's
I
worth
think-
considering.
Yeah, Georgia, and then
And Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern. Okay, so teams I have here, I have Iowa, I have Toledo, Georgia.
I made a quick list as we were going through of the teams that I
you
thought
have
were
them.
like
Perfect.
were worth remembering, and that's Iowa, Toledo, Arizona State, Washington, SCAR, Georgia, and Georgia Southern.
How many is that? That's 6?
That is 7.
7. Okay,
So,
so we got to
we
eliminate
gotta
2
trim.
teams from there.
So out of I think Iowa's the best out of all those teams I hear there.
I really
I
like
think
Iowa.
Iowa's like not the best. I think Iowa doesn't have really a strong defense that I'd like to see from them.
That's true. I will
Gotta
say though, like
close.
Texas State losing this week kind of sucks for their strength of
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
But if we're just looking at the last month of the season since their new quarterback took over, you have this was an upset over Minnesota at the time. Close win over Penn State, that's a meh. The big OT win. Competitive against Northwestern, but it was at home. And then a 7-point win over Wisconsin. Nothing to write home about really, except... So I don't know about that one. There's not like... Okay, let's look at SCAR. So Zach, you gotta stop talking. I mean... If you just like put your finger over that 10-14 date, you know, it looks really good. But then you see the fucking 86 there.
Yeah.
The win over Houston's huge. It might be one of the bigger wins. Obviously, they have 3 ridiculous games. Like, it was huge. He just got bowl eligibility right there. You might have missed a bowl if you lost that game.
Yeah.
I was so scared.
Yeah. I'd be fine putting them at 21. Obviously, game day, they get a little extra hype than they probably should. The only other team I think I want to look at would be Toledo. See if they actually did anything.
I mean, there's just no wins there.
This is
those are all-
Rank
tough.
them, they're on the end.
Yeah,
So,
those are all
okay.
just middle of the pack. Like,
So,
meh teams.
Iowa has the better win if we're comparing Iowa and South Carolina in our rankings, because Houston's 13, Michigan State's 11.
What does Notre Dame have?
Oh yeah,
Close to
let's.
wins.
That's was.
I didn't write down Notre Dame. Yeah, that's a good one to consider.
Alright. So, okay, so the common opponent, Houston, that's kind of critical. So I think you
Yeah.
put Houston or Notre Dame probably behind South Carolina. Fucking Charlotte, that's tough.
That is quite tough.
Overtime win against
That's a bummer.
Nebraska, who just got a kind of upset win. Really, their best win is USC.
Yeah, not really many wins
And
there.
I'm not a big USC respecter this year.
This is the kind of Notre Dame team that we've seen really in the last 3 years since they lost Miles Gooch. It's just
Yeah.
like okay to competent record, just no wins. All right, my
Georgia,
vote.
Arizona State.
I'm not a fan of the whole. Oh, their 3 losses are to 3 of the best teams in the country. You have to rank them high. I think you probably rank Georgia. Just
You got
I
to
don't
see
want to do
some
it
wins there at
21.
some point too.
Yeah. You need to see more wins. I know the talent of the roster is there.
Yeah.
You just need to see it come out.
It's
Yeah.
the age-old thing where it's like, sure, you have a lot of great losses, but at some point you actually have to win those games to be.
And like they're not
considered good.
playing close games with these teams either. Like
Yeah.
No.
And
Tennessee.
yeah, I mean,
yeah, but I think I changed my mind. I think I'll say South Carolina is my favorite team here.
I think so too. And also, you got to keep in mind with Georgia, those first 2 games, like the last second win on LSU and the last second win on Texas, that does not look great. They are like a few plays
Not
away
great.
from 3 and 5. All right, yeah. So I think Scar here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
God, Zach's turning me into a dick writer. All right. I would then probably say Iowa.
I agree.
Do we want to look at Iowa versus Arizona State?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So Arizona State, we kind of got to realize that they, for a lot of the season, played with their 4th string quarterback. So Lorenzen got hurt, I believe, against Troy, and then the backup played well, and then in this loss, he had 2 quarterbacks go down, and the wide receiver came in. Wide receiver came in and played really well against Michigan State on BearCave, but they lost. And then the wide receiver actually beat Stanford. And then he also had another good game against Oregon State. And then Lorenzen just comes back and it's business as usual. And he threw 53 times, whatever. But he's a really good quarterback. I think that you probably rank Arizona State just because of this. Like, if they had their quarterback, I feel like they probably end up beating Oregon and potentially even Michigan State there. But
Yeah.
I think that it's worth a ranking. I don't know if it's over Iowa, though. Both have had quarterback problems.
What I will say is I think that their win against Stanford is kind of comparable to Iowa's win over Michigan State.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think they got better losses there. So I might go.
Now, we do have Michigan State at 11 and Stanford at 15. So, but it's also... and then this is Iowa. I don't think a win over Illinois kind of propels them up here. Wyoming's not that great. Got steamrolled by Utah.
And they don't have the Arizona State and Washington. I wish they had both played Arizona already.
Yeah.
Common opponents would be nice.
So I would think, for me, I have Iowa than ASU here.
I would personally flip it ASU than Iowa.
I think with hefty
I'm
lefty
fine
back,
with that.
Iowa's got the edge.
All right.
All
Oh,
right.
you say Iowa has the edge with the hefty lefty
Or
back?
sorry, yeah, ASU has the edge.
Okay.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, ASU.
Hefty lefty's the
and then
goat.
Iowa.
Iowa.
Okay, so 2 spots left. I think you give one to Toledo, 7-1.
Yep.
You know,
Can't
I don't know if
disrespect
you
it.
give them 24. We could go super easy. Toledo 24, Georgia 25.
I think you got to consider Notre Dame too.
Also, Georgia Southern.
Yeah, can't leave out Goss. So gotta at least take a look
All right,
at
so
them.
let's take a look at them because they could sneak in here late. Tough loss to FIU, who did lose this week.
Ouch.
Yeesh.
That just hurts a lot.
Yeah. So it might keep them out. Also, it was a close rivalry game. 10 points. They still got the dub though. So
Also, a
that's
1 point
inflated.
win over 0-9 Duke.
To be fair, Duke is doing that to everyone. Hold on, let's
They
just,
do seem to
while
be,
we're here,
yeah. Let's just take a
at
look.
Duke, because this has happened all one score game, one score game, one score
That's
game,
outrageous.
OT, one score, 9, one score. So all but 2 of their losses have been
Okay.
one score, and the 2 losses that have been blowouts is Boston College and Georgia Tech. And I'm not saying blowouts. There's only one blowout here. That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
Duke is a
Kinda like-
bowl-eligible
like us.
team in a
Yeah.
horribly coached body.
Dare I say, Duke is a 0-9 quality loss.
They'd be 7-2 if they reversed all their one-score games.
So, yeah, I really don't care how we go here. I think you'd put Toledo 24 and then just pick your poison.
I think I gotta
don't know
go.
if we reward Notre Dame, so I'm fine going JSOW if you want.
I think Toledo, Georgia.
I think that's
I'm
probably
on the-
more.
Definitely like Toledo here, at least.
Like Toledo, but I think I'm more on the Georgia Southern.
Does Georgia have anything that actually makes you want to say, I want to rank this team?
Besides
have it.
overwhelming SFA talent, no.
Yeah.
And I Georgia and Notre Dame are really close for me because they both like just don't have a win.
And we said
And
no
they've
to
lost all the games they
Washington,
played.
right?
Yeah, I think we said no to Washington here.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
The
pick.
Wyoming
Oh,
loss.
well, hold up.
Well, a
Washington-
win over Illinois.
Yeah, Washington does have a win
That's
over
true.
Illinois.
Lost to Cal.
Yeah, I
That's
think that
whatever.
the Wyoming loss though.
Yeah, so it kind of cancels it out. All right, I personally think you go Georgia. Just, easy filler team. I think Georgia or Georgia Southern. Dogwater, what do you think?
I like Georgia.
25
Round
Georgia,
number
Georgia Southern.
25.
All right. Are we all okay with Georgia?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I'm alright with it, even though I was one of the people advocating for
Alrighty.
them to get here. It doesn't feel good, but they should
Yeah.
be somewhere, right?
Yeah. All right, so that is a good committee meeting. First one in the books. I'm just going to go back through one more time. If you have any discrepancy, let me know. Tennessee, Iowa State, Baylor, Ohio State, Florida, Buffalo, Cal, ECU, Clemson, Boston College, Michigan State, Central Michigan, Houston, Illinois, Stanford, Northwestern, Syracuse, Cincy, Colorado, Virginia, South Carolina, ASU, Iowa, Toledo, Georgia. I think
Love
that's
it.
a great start. All right, so always as the rules for the committee meeting, it takes me about 5 minutes to put them into the graphics or whatever. So just don't talk about specific rankings or anything till they are released. But yeah, any questions?
Nope.
All
None from me.
Cool. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks Dogwater for helping at 25.
Yeah, dude, no problem, man. But
Bye, buddy.